Hi guys, I'm Lauren D'Amelio Ventry and I'm so excited to be here today to talk to you about local travel expense. When I talk about local travel expense, I mean anything that you can go to a client for just that day. It's not destination. It's not going to take you 5 hours to get there, 5 hours to get back. Maybe your limit is 2 hours to get there, 2 hours to get back, or less, right? We're talking about local travel clients. How do you set that rate? And what do you do to make sure that you're getting paid the right amount for each individual client? And how do you explain it to that client so that they don't question why you're charging for travel? First of all, we all know packing up our cars every day, or if you don't drive and you need to get on public transit or take taxis or Ubers, it's not easy carrying all of this stuff with us. We have the light, we have the chair, we have our kit. So much stuff has to come with us to that client. So we should be charging for travel because a lot goes into getting to your client with all of your stuff. You don't need that gas, those tolls, the mileage to come out of your pocket. Some places that you go to, maybe their hotel has a valet fee, or maybe the parking fee in a lot nearby. You shouldn't be covering that. That should be covered by your client. So when you send out your price list, you should explain to them that there is a travel fee. Now there's two different ways that you can go about charging for travel. You could either do an hourly rate or you could do a mileage rate. I personally like to do a mileage rate, and how I break it down is $1 per mile round trip. This helps my client really wrap their head around why they're paying for travel. They understand that, oh wow, she is traveling 160 miles round trip. It's going to justify for them why they're paying that. You can go onto your state's website and find out what the legal rate is, the minimum for travel per mile, or you can just set your own rate because we are individual freelance artists and we can do that. So I like to do, I was at 50 cents a mile, I was at 75 cents a mile, now I do $1 a mile. Round trip plus tolls, very important, plus tolls, plus parking, because parking alone in New York City could be upwards of $100. My tolls just getting from Central Jersey to New York can be upwards of $30 to $45. So if I'm not adding those things in, that's $100 that is coming out of my pocket to get to my client. So very important that I'm including these things in my travel expense to my client. You might not give them that price right away because you might not know it at that moment, but they should be aware of a roundabout number before you get to them on their big day. You can easily figure out the mileage rate because all you have to do is go to your maps, whatever app you like to use on your phone, and put in point A to point B. Maybe it's 60 miles there. You know that it's gonna be another 60 miles back. So that's 120 miles round trip. Now you're gonna take whatever your travel rate per mile is, whether it be 50 cents, 75 cents, $1, whatever your rate is, and times that by the mileage. So 120 miles round trip at $1 is gonna be $120. 120 miles round trip times 50 cents, if that is your mileage fee, it is $60. And then you need to take into account the tolls. You can normally figure out the tolls because you live in that area and you've been through them a million times, or you could Google it. Parking is a little bit more tricky. That's something that you might not know until the day of, unless you're able to use a parking app like Park Mobile or Best Parking. Those are apps that we use in our area that I like to book my parking ahead of time for my clients. This is a really good tip for you to use, is get a parking app and pre-book your parking, especially if you're going to a really busy area that requires you park in a parking garage like New York City or Philadelphia, anywhere that might have a ton of traffic and not a ton of parking, because you don't want to get to your client and then have nowhere to park because all of the garages are full and the street parking is packed. Some places don't have valet. If you are able to valet, you should also make sure your client is aware that they are going to be covering that. I will include a little spreadsheet on this video so that you guys can look back as a reference at any time to really start figuring out how you should be charging for travel. Or you could go the other route, which is more of an hourly. Hey, this is an hour from my house, I charge $50 an hour. The only problem with that is you don't know if it's gonna take an hour for you to come back or 3 hours to come back. Maybe there's an accident, maybe there's a parade, maybe there's a marathon, maybe roads are closed. So I don't love to do it that way, but to each their own. You could also have separate rates for if you are traveling into certain areas, maybe like a different state. Maybe, again, for example, I'm going from New Jersey to New York City, and I'm gonna set my rate at $150 for that travel. I just have a set rate to do that because you know what? The mileage is just not worth the time and aggravation that it takes me to get into New York. Totally up to you. The one that really makes the most sense for me and my clients is doing the mileage plus tolls plus parking. It's going to be easy for you to add up. It's going to be easy for your client to wrap around their head, and you're going to get paid every time easily and not have to come out of your pocket. So I hope this helps. I want you guys to know if you have any questions, go into the comment section. We will be trying to help you guys out as much as possible. And don't forget to grab that free resource that I am handing out to you just to help you figure out exactly how you should be calculating your travel expenses. Love you guys.